You've got an interesting perch because you help run a restaurant, so you see it from like literally the ground up, but you're also talking about these macro global trends. How do you see the economy and the economic and stock story playing out right now?
Well, it's all this. It's about whether or not we're going to start fearing a second round of shutdowns. Over the last couple of weeks, the market was perfectly willing to ignore cases rising because they could file that into having more cases. Net deaths weren't rising at the time, too. But now with hospitalizations rising, it's really being called into question. And granted, when these things happen, the fact that we had rallied so far off our lows and we're sitting at that perch thinking, oh, wow, maybe we've been a little too optimistic. If we start another round of shutdowns, this could be bad. And you always got to remember the counterbalance as well. The counterbalance is the Fed. The counterbalance is government stimulus. Every time the market starts to flounder a little bit, they start kicking around, stimulus packages that are in the trillions. The reality is this: the next couple of days are going to be critical. Beyond the next couple of days, yes, the Fed could still talk more dovish. The Fed could talk, the government could talk more accommodative as far as spending goes and still support the market. But what we really want to see is positivity regarding the reopenings, along with the Fed still sticking around if we want to see the market go much higher.
Well, it's a heck of a balance for investors right now. Okay, hopefully they didn't sell in March, although data shows a lot of retail investors sold at exactly the wrong time. Unfortunately, sort of buying into the panic or selling into it. If you held on, you probably have made back most of your money. Not maybe all of it, but most of it. You're watching what happens right now. That you got the Fed on one hand, right? The Scylla of the Fed and the Charybdis of the coronavirus concerns. Why not just park some cash and see how things play out over the next couple of days and weeks? Or is that dumb?
No, I mean, it's not dumb. It's dumb to do it on March 23rd when the market had already lost 36% on the same day the Fed announces unlimited QE. Is it dumb to rebalance a little bit now after this move off the lows? I don't think so. I don't think it's bad to take off some risk. I'm not bearish, by the way, too. Yesterday, even after that nasty sell-off in the S&P, we just kind of touched the 200-day moving average and we've stayed above it. We've seen a little buoyant this morning as well, too. There's been times where you can look out into the abyss and it seemed more desperate than it does right now, and even those times weren't a great time to sell it. So I'm still relatively bullish. I don't think it's ever a bad idea to be cautious after you had some gains, and that's one of the things that keeps the market moving up and down. All of a sudden, some of the bigger players say, okay, now here's a better opportunity to get out of some things, and that's what makes a market.
Yeah. Should we buy a little gold, Jim? Gold's been on a record tear, highest level since 2012. Should we just park a little gold under the mattress, so to speak?
I can only tell you what I'm going to do, Brian. And I'm looking at gold too. And yes, gold has rallied quite a bit over the last couple months, but still not as much as I think it should. A day like yesterday is interesting because a day like yesterday, if we're going to buy gold on panic, we'd buy it on yesterday, right? No, not so much. On days like that, the dollar still rallies. Plus, there's still a memory of early March when stocks cratered and some hedge funds apparently had to sell gold to meet margin calls, and it broke $100. But the reality of it is that when I see the Fed say, basically by any means necessary, when I see the federal government say, by any means necessary, I have to worry about currency risk. So yes, I am buying gold. Gold took out its all-time highs yesterday, but couldn't keep it. If it does it again today, I'm going to be buying more gold.